In New Mexico, our winters and early springs are pretty challenging for the bees. In a top bar hive, we will often feed a sugar syrup to help them get to a point in the season where there are enough flowers to provide the nectar and pollen they need. This is often done in a Langstroth hive as well. You want a 4-to-1 ratio of water to sugar in the summertime and earlier spring. You can use a ratio of 3-to-1 or 2-to-1 in the early spring and the late summer and early fall. The more concentrated solutions mean the bees don't have to work quite as hard to dehydrate the solution and store it for their use later on through the winter. So what you need to make syrup is some sugar, and you want cane sugar, not beet sugar. Cane sugar is mostly coming from non-GMO sources. Beet sugars these days are mostly GMO, and to be real conservative with what we are doing for our bees, I feel it's just a little bit better to use the cane sugar, and that's what most beekeepers I know recommend. So pure cane sugar, it's cheap. You can see I have a lot. You need some water. And so what we're going to do is use a cup of sugar. And a quart of water. Of course, you can make larger batches. And this much sugar and water, a quart of water and 1 cup of sugar, makes a little bit more than a quart of your sugar syrup. And then we're going to take our pot to the stove and just heat that up until the sugar dissolves. It doesn't take long at all. And then we want to put it in jars to provide it to the bees. We might add a little bit of lemongrass essential oil. 1 drop per quart is sufficient. This is kind of an attractant for the bees. They really like lemongrass. So you've got, with jars, then you can use either a quart or a pint. I like a quart because it just lasts a little bit longer with my bees. You take the lid and you put some holes in the ring. You can use a standard hole punch that you get at any hardware store or a nail. The big key is not to make those holes so large that the syrup comes out when you flip this jar over, because that's what you're going to do. I keep wax paper in underneath so I can store this in a refrigerator and grab a jar when I need it. In this hive I have 2 pint jars. It means I don't have to change out the syrup as often. And you can see that I've created a platform underneath the jars with 3/8 inch square dowels. You can get them at any of the big box stores. Just cut them to 6 inches. And then you rest your jar upside down on that little platform you created with 2 pieces of the dowel. That gives the bees just enough space to get underneath and get to the sugar syrup. The surface tension of syrup with a small hole means that it doesn't drip out. So you're safe in just putting it in.